title. This is like a really serious video, and I've thought about it a lot on how to talk about this and share my experience with anxiety and how it affects me every day and how I've also grown a lot and how I've coped with it over the years. And first, before I begin this video, I just want to let you know, like, this video is current. I'm filming this right now and it's going up the next day. So as I've told the story many times, the beginning of the year, I took a trip to Asia and went on a cruise, and I did a bunch of traveling at the beginning of the year. If you guys remember in some of the lost episodes that I have posted, I was about to go to Hong Kong right when I left off in that episode. I just got to Seattle. So what I'm gonna do is, so I'm at 21 videos out of 30. This is number 22. For the rest of those videos, I have about 10 or 11 videos. I'm gonna post every single day. It's gonna be my entire experience of going to Hong Kong and China and Tokyo and Hawaii and Los Angeles. And there's a video of where I met Tanner. There's a video of my cruise when I went to the Bahamas, and there's a video of when I first moved to California into that house, my trip going there, that I haven't released any of that. So basically the next like 10 to 11 videos, I'm gonna say this at the beginning of each video so you guys know what's going on, so it's not really weird. So I'm gonna release all the lost episodes, all the stuff that you haven't seen. They're really, really fun videos. I did crazy stuff. I hope my energy is good back then too. You know, on camera, I think I've gotten better with energy, hopefully, especially with the current videos. So I hope that's good. I haven't edited all of them yet. They're all to be edited. That's what I'm doing for the next like 10 to 11 videos. I hope you guys enjoy those. It was a really fun and crazy time in my life. The first couple months of the year were just nuts. So I'll explain that in each video. But anyway, so anxiety, guys, I think this is a very important topic to touch on. First of all, I want to say that if you struggle with anxiety, you are normal. This is 100% a normal thing. There are more kids with anxiety today in all of recorded history. So let me start with when I first started realizing that I had struggled with anxiety and whatnot. So I want to say it started around 4th or 5th grade, and I realized that like little things would bug me like beyond belief. And anxiety also goes in conjunction with OCD. If you don't know what OCD is, it means obsessive compulsive disorder. Define OCD. So OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, judging by Siri and Wikipedia, is a mental disorder where people feel the need to check things repetitively, perform certain routines repetitively, or have certain thoughts repetitively. So that can be as simple as if your room isn't clean and it bugs the absolute shit out of you because you need to go clean it, then that's an example of OCD, and that's pretty mild. A lot of people have something simple as that, like they need to clean the kitchen, or they need to clean this, or if something's on their mind, it won't go away because they need to do it. That's repetitive. That's definitely very, very normal for a lot of people to have. For me, it was a lot more severe. It got to the point, so it started off, like I said, 4th or 5th grade, when I started to see some symptoms of anxiety. I started to feel like I was the only one dealing with it. It turned into where when I would write something in pencil, you know, there'd be like, you know, some lead left over or whatever. I'd wipe the lead off the paper with my hand, and I would do that, and then eventually it became where I write something, smear, you know, write something, wipe it off. And I do that every single time, so it became almost a habit and a routine, and I believe that was the first thing that I experienced with OCD. And the problem with OCD is that they go together with anxiety, at least for me. Let's say that I have a thought of like I wanted to wipe that off. If I was thinking in my mind like, oh no, I don't need to do that, like, no, I know I don't need to do this, it would bug the shit out of me if I didn't do it, because then that's when the anxiety sets. That's when I get like a stomach ache, or I'd like feel this like just, I don't know, like just this weird sensation in my stomach. I'm like, like I gotta just, I don't know how to explain it. It's so hard to explain how I feel, but those of you that have anxiety, I'm sure you understand. Yeah, I don't know. I just have to do it. So almost every time I end up caving, end up doing this. I did similar things like that for like 4 years. I would go back and open and shut a door multiple times. I might count my steps. I might count how many times I'm doing something. I mean, so many different little things would go on, and it would just cause me to weird, and just this weird, I don't know, just sensation in my stomach. So that went on, and it got worse and worse for about 4 years, and I tried to cope with it, and it just didn't really work that well because I didn't have any coping mechanisms. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was weird. I don't think my parents even knew about it until they started to notice that I was doing these weird things with OCD, and they didn't really notice that much until it got really, really bad in 9th grade. I'm sure a lot of you may have experienced that going into a new school or going into a new grade, big changes, whatever it is, but it got really, really bad. It got to the point where I couldn't even get into a car without stepping out of the car like multiple times, just because that's what my OCD in my brain was just telling me to do. Now, if I backtrack a little bit, in 8th grade is when I realized that I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one dealing with this. I thought I was crazy. I honestly, in my mind, thought I was crazy, which is what made my anxiety and stress even worse, which then caused my OCD to be worse. I was in my 8th grade history class, and for some reason we turned on this show where they talked about anxiety and OCD, and how this dude on the show would go back and open and close his curtains. In my mind, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I'm not the only one. Like, this is, I honestly honestly, until that point, I thought I was absolutely crazy. I thought nobody else dealt with this. I thought it was insane. I couldn't believe it. So from that point on, I knew I wasn't alone, but then it got worse in 9th grade. I think what helped me eventually is in 9th grade, when it got really bad, where I couldn't even get into a car without causing a scene, pretty much. I think I found a game. It was like Temple Run, except it was the Despicable Me version or whatever, and I played that game all the time. Like, that game absolutely saved me from like the struggles of anxiety. It was summer. At that point, I had no responsibility. Literally, like, I swear that saved me. That was like a distraction for me. That was one of my coping mechanisms to begin with. Now, I'm not saying go play games, because that's, you know, I continue on. I learned from that. You know, that can't be my only coping mechanism. That same summer, shortly after, actually, really close to that time, I was at my cousin's graduation party, Josh's graduation party. I was playing this game, and that's what saved me. And after that period of time is when I started making vines, and I started expressing myself, and I found a new hobby that was productive, that was good, and it was fun, and it was an amazing time. And that was another thing that was like a coping mechanism for me, was you know, making things that I was proud of, doing something productive. And because of that, like, indirectly, anxiety, I think, made me a career, because I found that Vine was something that I was able to express myself on. And you'll see that with a lot of YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers struggle from anxiety, maybe depression, OCD, whatever it is, and they express themselves on camera, which is why I love doing this. Like right now, I feel so like anxiety free because I'm talking to you guys and I'm expressing myself, and I feel good and I love it. So my advice to you is find something that you love to do. I'm not saying play a game, because I learned that that wasn't, you know, long-term helpful. What you need to do is find something like making vines, like expressing yourself. Maybe it's business. Maybe you like making bracelets and you want to sell them on Etsy. Like, do something that you love, that's productive, that will take your mind off of this anxiety and do something else. For me, that was like the short-term solution. Now, for a long-term solution, like if you have repetitive thoughts, for example, that was the main thing for me, is I always had repetitive thoughts, and that's what caused me to do these little OCD things. So the repetitive thoughts that I had shortly into Vine, it was after we saw some success with it. It was about a couple months after we got really big on Vine, we were blowing up and it was becoming a career. We did this first Vine event, like meet and greet in Detroit. We did it with Andre Drummond, an NBA Detroit Pistons player. We did it with Ryan Figlioli. We did a bunch of other people. Ryan was there, and just all of our friends and stuff, and it was super fun. I got a bracelet, coming full circle by the way. I got a bracelet just like this, like a little plastic one, and I started wearing it every single day, and it just became something that I was used to. I just have something on my wrist. Now, if I backtrack a little bit, I went and saw a counselor. She told me one of her techniques was anytime I have a bad thought, wear a rubber band and just snap it on my wrist, right? And I did that for a little while, but I was like, I don't want to wear a rubber band. Like, that doesn't make sense. So when I got this wristband, I was like, oh man, like this is perfect. You know, I didn't really ever snap it on my wrist, but it was something for me to play with. I always had, like, if I had a thought, I might just mess with my, you know, with my wristband, with my bracelet. So that became a thing. And then I went to New York for a big super Vine, probably one of the biggest, I think. It was like all of the big creators at the time, all the big Viners, we all went to New York, had like just this huge meetup, and that was incredibly fun. I went to the 9/11 memorial and I got another wristband, which again, I need to find these. I have them somewhere. So I wore that all the time. And then I got sponsored by some watch company and they sent me a watch. And then ever since then, I have been wearing a watch, like no matter what. I started with, actually, you know, here it is. This company that was sponsoring Viners at the time, called Flex Watch. They sent me my first watch. I wore this one and a white one. I wore it literally all the time. And that became like my wristband. I took off the wristbands at the time and started wearing that for like more fashion. And then, so long story short, then I ended up getting this watch, which I wear literally every day, as you can see. I mean, it's probably one of the most prized things that I own. I love this watch. Yeah, I wear it every single day, and that's because I feel comfortable wearing something on my wrist now. And actually, another thing that I started doing, as you guys know, I wear this little peace sign necklace. I got it in California. I think this company's called Pura Vida or something, and I got, or Buena Vida, and I got this necklace from their headquarters when we visited the house next to the Clout House, and I got a bunch of them, so I will always have these no matter what. And if I ever run out of them or lose all of them somehow, I'm gonna buy another necklace. But this has become another thing. I just play with it in my fingers, I have it, so it's like a distraction. It's just these little things that won't affect, like, it's not like a game where it'll affect my life to where I'm not being productive, but I could be in a business meeting. If I was still in school, I could be at school and I could be just playing with this, and this takes away from those thoughts. It's just something to do. The fidget spinners, that's why those are important, but a lot of schools probably don't let you have that. So something like this, perfect. Wear something on your wrist, something to mess with, something to take your mind off the craziness, and that is my coping mechanism for it. And here's the biggest one. This is the hardest one. I promise, like, if you can't do this right away, I still struggle with it. Everybody struggles with it. But if you have a fear or if you have an anxiety, you have to face it head on. That's what I learned to do. So if it's like, for example, for a while, you know, getting in and out of a car was always a struggle for me, or even more so, throwing something away because I knew I wasn't ever gonna touch that thing again. That used to be a struggle for me too, even though it's just as simple as throwing something away. eventually I just started chucking things, and I was like, clench my hands, because that's what I think I needed to do. I'd like just clench my hands and be like, all right, like I'm gonna let that go. I'm not gonna let the OCD bug me and give me anxiety or whatever. Just let it go, because it doesn't matter. Like in your mind, you think it matters. You think, like I used to think that if I don't do this, if I don't touch this thing again or whatever, or if I don't shut the door a certain amount of time, something bad's gonna happen. It's not. That's like, it's hard for me to even say that now, but it's not, like that's not gonna happen. You just have to let it go. If you're having OCD like that, you gotta let it go, and you need to face your problems head on. That's the hardest thing to do in life, but you have to face your problems head on. I used to be so scared of getting on a plane. Now, I have a plane tattoo, and my merchandise has a plane on it because I've been on almost 100 planes just in the last year. And like, that used to be such a big fear for me. Like I can't, like I used to be so worried about getting sick, you know, not feeling good or whatever, and how I get on the plane, like it's nothing. Like I hop on a plane, I'm gonna go back to Kansas, you know, in like 2 days or whatever, I think, and it's just not even a big deal. I don't even think about it anymore. I just go to the airport and that's that. And there are times I still struggle with it, but I face my fears head on. So for example, outside of like OCD and stuff like that, I have always had a sensitive stomach. I know that coffee always tends to hurt my stomach, right? Like that's something that just happens. But I always used to worry about drinking coffee because I thought it might make me feel sick. In reality, it's mostly my mind. It is acidic, and it is, you know, all these different things that might not make you feel great for a little while. But outside of that, people drink coffee every day. So, and the thing is, I love the taste of coffee. It sucks when I feel like I can't drink coffee. So the other day when we were in Birmingham, I got that nitro cold brew, and I was like, I'm just gonna send it. Like I'm just gonna send it. I'm going to drink this coffee, and I'm gonna face my fear head on. And so that's a thing. Another thing that I did this year was, you know, I used to be afraid of getting in planes. Like I said, I hate waking up early because usually I don't feel good. And so that's another thing I gotta work on, is just waking up early and facing that fear head on, essentially. Fear of not feeling good. That's a main one for me, by the way, is not feeling good. I hate to feel out of control, and that's like something that kind of goes along with that. We went skydiving, and I woke up early. I was up late the night before. We woke up early. I know skydiving like sounds cool and whatever else, but if you really normalize this and explain what it is, we got in a small plane with no doors, which is totally like against anything that you should do as a person. And even more so, we jumped out of the plane. I was 100% out of control. I'm relying on the skydiving master of sort to pull the chute and make sure that we're safe. Which, by the way, part of that for me is I told him I wanted to pull the chute so I'd be a little bit more in control. But yeah, like I faced that fear head on, and I think to this day it's probably the craziest thing I've ever done because it's something that I was afraid of. And I don't want to keep talking forever, but one more thing that I think I've done this year is I was not afraid to work out, but I think I was afraid of the task of working out every day and actually getting there, and then also for me not feeling good, taking the pre-workout, taking the during workout BCAAs, and then also drinking enough protein afterwards, and then just eating enough food to actually see the results I want. I was afraid of that because I didn't want to not feel good. And so I've been doing that, and I've faced that head on. I've worked out every day for 21 days, about to go to the gym with Adam now, 22 days in a row. I've had the pre-workout, I've had the BCAAs, and I've been drinking protein almost every single day. I missed protein like the last 2 days just because I was tired and I forgot. But you kind of get where I'm going with it. Face your fears head on. Do not let anything, even something psychological like this, do not let this get in the way of your fun. Don't let this get in the way of anything that you want to do in life. And that's what this channel is all about. That's what it's going to continue to be about from this day forward as well. I want you to live the absolute best life you possibly can. I don't care if you're 6 years old or you're 60 years old or 100 years old watching these videos. In fact, if you're 100 years old watching these videos, you better email me because that's freaking awesome. I just want to inspire you guys to live to your full potential and not let anything, psychological, physical, anything, even financially, I don't care what it is, don't let it affect your life. Do not let it stop you from doing what you want to do, because we have one life here on earth. If you're lucky, you have 100 years. Most people probably have 60 to 80 years. And that's crazy to think about. All of my grandparents, except for my grandpa, passed away before they turned 60. Like, that's so insane to think about. Like, I'm 20 years old right now. I could have like 35 to 40 years left. Like, you never know. And guess what? Even less than that, you never know. Mac Miller was 26 years old. From what it seems like an outside point of view, he was on top of the world. He had everything he wanted financially. You know, he probably had a really good life. He died when he was 26. So that leaves me at 6 years to live my best life. So I'm here to inspire you. I'm here to tell you that you need to live the absolute best life you can possibly imagine. I don't care what you have on your mind, what you have on your bucket list. You need to accomplish that and make that happen. And again, guys, I don't ever want to seem like this is bragging, but literally, this board has been full at least twice now, and that's what's left, and I've taken off so many of those things. Like, it's absolutely insane. So if I can do all those crazy things, and if I can do a bunch of things that weren't even on the board, you can do literally anything you want. I'm a normal kid from Michigan, the Midwest. I'm not like a trust fund baby that got a bunch of money that could do whatever he wanted. I'm able to do these things as a normal kid. So you can literally do anything. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that I can inspire you. I hope that I can can help you conquer anxiety, which is this big, almost epidemic that's happening right now and always has, but it's bigger now than it ever has been. So I want you to know you're normal and you can conquer this. You can get over anything and you can do anything you ever want to do. Again, I hope that I am able to inspire you and help you with this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you can see my craziness in these Hong Kong, China, Japan, Hawaii, Bahamas, LA, craziness videos, traveling, everything. Make sure you subscribe so you can see these lost episodes that are coming out over the next like week and a half, 2 weeks. And I just want to thank you for watching. And after those videos go live, after I'm done, I will be 100% current, uploading daily. What happens today gets posted tomorrow. And I hope that I can inspire you guys to live your best life. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Every day I got some flow.